Hi guys, here we are again with another episode of How To with the Caribbean Gaffer, powered by 13 Degrees North Rentals. And in this episode, I have with me Amory Alleyne of KA Media and not AK Media. Amory is my very good friend, and we've worked on a number of projects together. Amory, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here on How To. Actually, even before we get into it, right? Mm-hmm. I know you got your KA Media, but this apparel here, this 13 Degrees North apparel, this is for you.
Thanks, man.
Right?
Thanks.
So Amory, in this episode, we're looking at site visits and from the DP's perspective. So for a lot of people they're watching that might not know, obviously site visits when you have a shoot, you have to go on the location and just make sure that what is on site and you know what you're shooting. Mm-hmm. Now, from your perspective, what do you advise or what would you tell people to look for when they go on site visits?
Okay, firstly, Kerr, I would like to thank you for having me on this production.
That easy.
I've been watching it and I like what you're putting out. When I'm going on a site visit or location scope, I'm looking at the position of the sun. Mm-hmm. I'm studying the story too. Because as filmmakers, we're storytellers. So we want to see if the location fits the vibe of the story that the director is looking to have.
Or how we can tweak it to fit that
yes,
vibe.
Yes. So once we've passed that and we know the vibe and the tonality of the location, then we are looking at composition. What angles are we shooting? Which angle would tell the story the best way? Right.
Within the given location. Because we might got a cow here grazing, they might got a sheep out here, but then at the same time, it's right, I don't want to see nothing to them. So I got sheep down this alley here, so I hold that out over there in there tomorrow.
Yes. And then I mentioned the position of the sun as well because that helps with the lighting and how we would light. If you're doing exteriors or interiors, we're looking at where the windows are positioned, how we could get the light into the room. And there's also apps that you use, like Sunseeker, that can tell you the position of the sun. And that helps you determine what time of day you would like to shoot, depending on if you want to use the sun to backlight the person or to be the key or side light, or depending on, as I say, the production and the story you're trying to tell.
Right. No. Outside of that, and not that we are sponsored by Sunseeker, right? We have no sponsors, so we're not wrapping that app. But that is one of the good apps to use for sure, just to look at time of day and how the sun is arcing. And because obviously with the position of the sun, that does affect a lot within a room or within the exterior. Yeah. Or within an exterior shot. Now, let me talk about focal lengths and camera lenses and what you would be thinking about as it relates to framing your shot within that particular location.
Before I even get to choosing the focal length, as I mentioned, I'm studying the story. Mm-hmm. So what is the story? What is the emotion we're trying to give off? What is the tone we're trying to give off? And then that gives me the idea of, or the vision of what I want to actualize. Right. And then there are other apps that you could use, or you could bring a camera to see how that shot looks, or the framing looks. I'm not going to show out any more apps, but there are apps that you can use to see the framing. But that's fine.
Even if there are apps that you would suggest, this is all about how to, right? Okay. So and for the viewers, we are here to teach them how to achieve what they need to achieve within their shot. So
okay. So there are apps like Artemis Pro or Carriage, and these apps simulate the camera. So you can choose a camera body. You can choose a lens, and these apps help you to frame your shot even before bringing out the camera. And you can use these shots even as references to show whether it's the gaffer, the director, or any other person that has a creative input.
Right. But now, obviously, when you're going on the location or the site visit, obviously you will go primarily with your director, your producer, your gaffer, your sound guy. In an episode, we will be talking to Travis about sound within the location too, and what the sound person would be also looking and listening for. So for me, primarily, those will be your key people to take along on that, so that you know, okay, this one thing will affect the other thing. So, for example, a generator position here, as just me talking from the perspective of a gaffer, if I position my generator here, how does this affect your shot, or will this enter into your shot? What is safe, and how then does this affect sound? But because film is such a cohesive medium, and we all have to work together, and in all honesty, this is why I love this industry, because it brings synergies together, and it should always be about working together. It then informs you as a DP what is necessary to do, and then how best we could work so that you could achieve the best shot.
Yes, that's correct. The thing is, as a DP, a DP is a unique position, because the DP is the head of the camera and the G&E crew,
right? And
as well, let's say deputy in the creative team. Yeah. So right. so you're reporting to the director, but then you're also in charge of the technical side. So even on the scope, you're looking for where are the power outlets, if you're using power outlets. You're having a conversation with the gaffer, with the key grip.
Yeah.
This is the look we are going for. And even at that time, you could, see what equipment is needed. So for me, I like to have an experienced gaffer that I can just say, I need soft light, I need neg.
Right.
I leave the fixtures up to the gaffer.
Yeah, correct.
Because that is their specialty, and they should know what to do.
For me, as a gaffer, I love working with a DP who allows us to have that level of creativity and relies on our experience to say, okay, I understand that this is the look that you want. This is how I think we should achieve it. And then once you have a good key grip as well, then the gaffer and the key grip goes about achieving that look that A, comes from the director, and then B, the director of photography, because the directors and writers may have one vision, but actually the storytelling and the look and feel of it primarily comes down to the DP. And once you have a good combination of good DP, good gaffer who understands how to tell that story with lighting, I think that most things are golden. And once you don't have to wait on sound, then so now, obviously that was now we discussing the look. What about now choosing focal lengths? Do you think that within a particular location, when you go there at first, within your mind, obviously, yes, you will have the script already. You may have a storyboard, right. and within that script or storyboard, the director might already say, okay, I want this type of emotion, so therefore I think we should use a 50 or 85, or I need a wider shot, so you can use a 24. But do you think that your suggestion would be when you get to that location, if you realize that something doesn't work, what then would you suggest?
If something doesn't work, I'm thinking about the story, thinking about the emotion, the tone, and then we're looking at the frame and seeing what works and what doesn't work. You can change the focal length if it needs changing, right, depending on the story.
Or depending on the location and what the location lines, or how the location lines to telling that story.
Yes, and as you said, so majority of the persons when going for a close-up would use, let's say, a 50 or higher. But then that takes away from the environment. Correct. So if you want to show the environment, then you could still shoot on a wider lens like a 24, and you could get closer into the subject.
Right.
And that lends to showing the environment as well. And you can use these different techniques in scenarios where you want a different look.
Obviously, we are here talking about focal lengths, and some of y'all might not understand because some people still have the kit lens. that comes with your camera, or zoom lens that come with your camera. But just so you understand, there are varying focal lengths within lens family, or within a particular lens family. So you might have a 18 or 12, a 18, a 24, a 35, a 50, a 85, 75 as well, 100 and over. But these are all prime lenses, and prime lenses are lenses that don't actually zoom. They have a fixed focal length. So I'm giving you that are watching a little bit of homework. You can go and research focal lengths so that you can basically understand what we're talking about here. But I'm sure that I will do a next episode, probably with Amory, discussing or looking at prime lenses and different focal lengths. Now, Amory, let's take it back to the basics. Let's say we're shooting a music video here in Barbados, and you don't have set deck, or you don't have the necessary production people to address issues like making sure that this wall remains the same color for the next 2 weeks, because in most instances, and being realistic, a lot of people don't seek permission for locations in Barbados, but especially when doing run and gun music videos. Like let me be real, right? And then there are documentaries that happen that you're literally doing guerrilla style stuff. Run and gun, yeah. So let's say, for example, you get in a scenario like that where you scout this location, this wall is yellow today, then you come back in the next 2 days and it is no blue. Have you ever been faced with a scenario like that, or what do you think you would do or suggest if a scenario plays off like that?
I don't think I've been faced with a scenario where the color changed. I probably was faced with a scenario where when we would have scout, we didn't when we scout, we didn't take into consideration the time window that we had to shoot. So as the sun rise, the shadow was then intruding on the shot. So we didn't take that into consideration, and in things like that, you have to, depending on the mood, you may have to change your shot altogether. If I came and it was blue and I wanted yellow, is either we find the budget to turn it back yellow, or we roll with the punches.
Or find a new location.
Or find a new location.
But in all honesty, those are some of the challenges that you do face here in the Caribbean, and they like to be very real about when it's speaking about the challenges that we face. We have a budding industry. It is not to the standard that we can say we are full-fledged, or we have a full-out video industry or film industry here in Barbados. Yeah, it's still growing. And for most of the projects that you will get, you probably would not have the budget to afford every single crew member that you would like. Right. So sometimes it comes down to a 3-man crew, and you're having to do it. So you as DP, you might end up having to be a gaffer. You might end up having to be director. You might end up having to be a focus puller. In some instances, you might even end up doing sound, right?
Not as a DP.
But I'm sure that there are other people there that have been faced with these things, and budgets dictate a lot too for us here in the Caribbean, and what we can and can't do. Now, as DP, your relationship with your director, what advice or what challenges you have had, and what advice you would give to people coming up who are looking to walk in the footsteps of being a director of photography as well?
The relationship with the director, I think, is important, and as DP, you have to have that listening ear so you understand their vision, and you can give your input too in helping their vision become. So I just think is to have a open mind when going to work with a director, and just trying to understand your vision.
Now, Amory, if anybody wants to find you on social or wants to work with you as a director of photography, how would they find you?
So it can be found on Instagram at KA_media. I also have a website, kamediabb.com, and also on Facebook, KA Media.
All right. So now you know how to find Amory. If you ever need somebody to come and help you with your shot selections or walk you through what to look for when you go on a location scout or on a recce. Remember, we are Everything 13 Degrees North Productions.
That's me.
13 Degrees North Rentals. I went back. You want to go again? Everything 13 Degrees North Productions, 13 Degrees North Rentals. We are also on Facebook as 13 Degrees North, and I am Kurt Dawson, also known as the Caribbean Gaffer. You can find me on Instagram. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow this channel. I can see you on the next episode.